Hey guys, anyone just joining, this is Katie from wellnessmama.com, and last time I did a Facebook Live I got a lot of questions about what supplements I take, and in fact in that one I gave a tour of all of my cabinets and my pantry and a lot of other places, but I keep my supplements in a basket in the pantry and I couldn't get them out with one hand. So this time I just wanted to talk about supplements specifically and just show you guys what I take daily. And the things to know about this are that I don't take all of these every single day, and I don't take the same things over and over because I feel like your body's always changing and your need for things changes, especially seasonally. So this is what I'm currently taking, but it could change next week. And I think when it comes to supplements, it really depends on what's going to work for you, and you don't want to just take anybody's blanket advice on what supplements you should take. Figure out what's going to work for your body and what you notice a difference from. So this is kind of the result of years of experimenting with that for me, and what I've noticed seems to make the biggest difference in my own life. So feel free to hop in with any questions. Also, if you're just joining, please hop on and say hi and let me know where you're from. It's always fun to see where everybody's from. And if you're just joining, my name's Katie from wellnessmama.com, and we're talking about supplements after I got so many requests to talk about them last time I did a Facebook Live. Let's see, where should we start? This one will not apply to everyone, so we'll get that out of the way first. But I'm still nursing a baby, and she's only about 5 months old, so I'm still taking my prenatal just to make sure I'm covered with nursing, because that's an extreme demand on the body. And the brand that I take on this one is called Seeking Health, and the reason I like this one is that it has the methylated forms of B vitamins. So basically, there's something called an MTHFR gene mutation, which I have heterozygous of, and that means that you can't effectively methylate, which means convert certain forms of vitamins to the usable form your body needs. And the most common one of these is that you'll recognize is folic acid. So folic acid is actually the synthetic, and it's what you'll find in most vitamins, but the methylated form is more usable, at least for my body. In fact, there's some studies that link folic acid consumption to breast cancer, and they think this may be part of the puzzle of why, is because it's the synthetic form. Thankfully, folic acid, from what they can tell, does seem to work to prevent a lot of neural tube defects. That's why it's always in prenatals. But for the least risk to mom, from what I've researched, I take the methylated form. So if you can see the label here, instead of folic acid, it's going to have methylfolate, or L5-MTHF, which is a different form. And everything in here is methylated. This is also one of the only prenatals I've taken that doesn't really hurt my stomach, and it may be from that as well, but that's the prenatal I take. And hey everybody, Washington, Utah, Maryland, New York. Somebody just took Rosita extra virgin cod liver oil. Yeah, that one's actually on my fridge too. I kind of alternate back and forth. Hey to everybody who just joined. It's Katie from wellnessmama.com. We're talking about supplements. And somebody mentioned this one is not food-based. And for the most part, a lot of supplements I do try to stick with food-based. But for me, the food-based ones are going to not have the right forms of folate, and it's the same concentrations that I need. And also with food-based supplements, sometimes you end up with too much of things you don't need. So Seeking Health is a brand that is run by Dr. Ben Lynch, and I've been really impressed with all the supplements I've tried from them, and also with him and his research. And so that's why I've stuck with this brand. It's also just, I felt great taking this one. Somebody's asking about antibiotics and probiotics, and I'll show you probiotics in just a minute. But also take, like, from Seeking Health, a B complex, and I've taken other things from them as well. I really like a lot of theirs, but that's one obviously won't apply to a lot of people. Since somebody just asked, another one that I take most of the time is fermented cod liver oil, and I alternate between this and the Rosita extra virgin cod liver oil. And there's definitely some controversy about this. You guys may have read it. I wrote a post about it, where somebody made a lot of accusations about this company and their product not being pure, and saying, well, you can't even ferment oil, which is true, but it's sort of something that got lost in communication, because they weren't actually claiming to ferment the oil. They were claiming to use a fermentation process when they were preserving it that fermented another byproduct in it. But I take both. From what I can tell in continued research, I don't think a lot of the claims are founded personally, and I still feel safe taking this, but always, of course, do your own research. Laura's asking supplements for thyroid health. So omega-3s are super important for that, which is why I take either this or the Rosita extra virgin cod liver oil, or I also sometimes take some form of this, which is an omega-3 TG, which stands for triglyceride form. And this is just going to be extra concentrated in EPA and DHA, which I'm just really careful to make sure I get enough of when I'm nursing, because that's really good for baby's brain, and also for reducing inflammation, which I feel like is a battle I constantly fight with my thyroid. Somebody asked if there's B12 in the B supplement, and yes, there is. If you can see it, there's methylcobalamin, and yeah, there's 2 forms of it in there. So anyway, so that's another one that I take. And then another one that I'll get out of the way, because not everybody can take it, including me right now. This is called Siltep, and it's basically a supplement for mental performance. And you can't take it when you're pregnant or nursing. So I've only been able to take it for a few months in the past, but it is amazing the difference I notice. I'm incredibly focused when I take this, and it's a natural-based supplement as well. So since I can't take it right now, I just give it to my husband and work vicariously through him. Let's see, somebody's asking about soy. Personally, I avoid soy just because it really messes up my thyroid. Hey to everybody who just joined. If you're just joining, weigh in and say where you're from. Say hi. I'd love to talk to all of you guys and hear where you are in the world. And also feel free to ask any questions. I definitely can't give specific advice, and definitely not medical advice, but I'm just sharing what works for me right now and can answer questions about any of these. So anyway, this is called Siltep. It's a mental enhancement supplement that's natural, and it is one of the few, probably the only one I've ever taken that I actually noticed the mental difference from immediately. Okay, somebody was asking about probiotics, and especially taking an antibiotic. And thankfully I haven't taken antibiotics in a long time, because they also mess up my thyroid. But there's several probiotics that I alternate between. And my theory is that you don't want to stick with the same probiotic over all the time. You want to mix it up a little bit, just because to me it makes sense that your gut could habituate to it and get used to a certain probiotic. And so you want to keep it mixed up. So I alternate between Prescriptive Cyst, which is, it's a probiotic and prebiotic, and it's soil based. And this one's really powerful. In fact, when I first took this, it says take 1, and I'm the type of well, then 2 must be better. It's not. Don't do that with probiotics. It will mess your stomach up for a little while. But this one I've noticed a really big difference in my digestion. Somebody's asking if there will be a list after. Yes. I can't do it while I'm on here, but I will add links to any specifics anybody asks and answer questions in the comments on Facebook after. So if you have a question, even if I can't answer it here, make sure you post it, and I will go through and try to answer any that I can. Somebody said you should not take too many supplements. I absolutely agree. That's why I don't take every single one of these every day. I just take them when I feel like I need it. Kimberly asked supplements that work for pain from inflammation. For me personally, the omega-3s make a big difference. Also magnesium, which I'll talk about in a minute. Somebody asked where do you get Siltep. I will post a link, but I just get it on Amazon. Let's see, for PCOS, I haven't had that personally, but a friend of mine swears by the omega-3s for that. So this is Prescriptive Cyst. This is one of the probiotics I take. Somebody asked about supplements that I give my children, and this is Biocult. They make a baby one also, and this is one that I give my daughter while she's breastfeeding, especially because since she was born breech, even though she was born vaginally, I'm not sure the transfer process of bacteria happened as well with her, just because she had a lot shorter time in the birth canal and she came out booty first. So I just make sure to give her probiotics as well. And this is a powder, and they're in little packets. And so what I do is I just open one and put my finger in it and kind of swab the inside of her mouth. And then I give the rest to my 3-year-old. So I don't give her very much, but I just want to make sure her gut flora is developing properly since she was born breech. Awesome, and you guys are all weighing in with advice to each other too. So everybody, if you have questions, ask in the comments, and even if I can't help, somebody else may be able to. Brad from Scotland. Hey Brad, my family's from Scotland originally. Looking for anything that gives you more energy, trying to give up coffee. So in the past, when I've been trying to get deadlines done and not pregnant or nursing, this is the one I use instead of coffee, and it's incredible. It makes coffee look really super weak, and you don't have to drink anything. I really do love Siltep. I can't say enough about it. Back to probiotics. So Biocult has an adult formula and this, and I give Biocult to my kids as well, because the capsules, if I can do this together, are really small, and they can swallow them, most of them, and the little ones can actually chew them. But they're very small capsules. You can see in relation to my finger, they're really small, and my kids don't have any problem swallowing those. And we've been really fortunate. None of our kids have ever had to be on an antibiotic, I don't think. I don't think any of them ever have, but if they did, I would definitely make sure they were alternating between both of these if they were on an antibiotic personally. Okay, somebody asked about supplements that help with headaches with no known cause. Yes, because I had those sometimes, and this is the supplement that literally changed my life when it comes to that, and that I use every day, and that my daughter, who's had headaches in the past, notices a big difference from also. And this is just the one I take, but it's a magnesium supplement. It's a topical magnesium, and the form is magnesium chloride. In fact, for years I just made my own magnesium oil, and now with 6 kids, this is one of the shortcuts I take. That I just buy it pre-made. So when everybody asks us questions, how do you do all this every day? The answer is I don't. I do what I can when I can, and I take shortcuts like ordering pre-made magnesium oil sometimes. And so this one is a magnesium chloride hexahydrate, and I just noticed that it doesn't cause skin irritation. When I was making my own magnesium oil or using certain other brands, it would give me like really dry skin, and it would cause tingling, especially when you were first using it. And this one I don't have any problem with that at all, which means the kids like it a lot more too, because it doesn't bother their skin. So this is the one we use for our family. I use it on my kids at night most of the time, and also on me. And I noticed a big difference with headaches from this. And the other difference I noticed that was pretty astonishing is that when I used this before I've been pregnant in the past, I don't get morning sickness. So my first 2 pregnancies, I had, I would say not too severe morning sickness, but enough that I was definitely uncomfortable for several months and throwing up pretty often, which is nothing compared to I know what some moms go through. But this really helped ward that off. So with my last one, I really didn't, it was pretty mild. I don't even really remember it, so I don't think it could have been that bad. Somebody asked, does the body butter recipe you have make you itch? Allie, I think you're talking about the magnesium body butter, and that does not. That was my original solution as well, is to ease up on the itching. I whipped magnesium oil into a body butter, and that really cut down on the dry skin because I was moisturizing as well. Ashley says she has PCOS as well, so someone else was asking about that, and she said diet change helped removing gluten, sugar, soy, and dairy. And I know a lot of women say the same thing. But magnesium, so again, just real quick, it's supposed to be really good for headaches. The body uses magnesium in over 300 ways, and it's really important for a lot of reactions. And a lot of us, especially if we've ever consumed processed food, have plenty of calcium in our body because a lot of foods are fortified with calcium. We don't have enough magnesium. So taking this made a big difference for me in my sleep and my endurance with exercising, and also just it helps a lot of women, I think, with hormone-related problems and cramps and that kind of thing. In fact, a friend of mine uses this when she gets cramps with her period, just sprays it all over her stomach, and it helps a lot. Melissa said her 10-year-old boy is getting acne. What supplement or lotion will help? So I would definitely ask someone more qualified than I am, but my theory is that acne can't be treated topically because it stems from inside. And in fact, for years as a teenager, I tried to treat it topically, and I used all those, I don't know, it wasn't Accutane, but I used like, maybe it was Proactive or something, a face wash, which I would not recommend because it actually bleached part of my skin on my face when I left it on too long. It's kind of crazy. So I tried everything topical. And then when I got rid of processed food and sugar and dairy, my acne went away magically. So I would look at diet and allergies and find a good functional medicine doctor or naturopath who can help guide you through that. Brittany says, what time of day do you use the magnesium oil? So a caveat on this, most people do really well using it at night. My kids all do really well using it at night. It improves their sleep. I find I do better using it in the afternoon or at lunchtime, because if I use it too late at night, it keeps me awake, and I don't know why, but it seems like a very small percentage of people that is the problem. So somebody said, can you put a link to where you buy this? Yes, I'll answer this in the comments after with a link directly to where it is. The company's called Activation, but I'll give you a direct link to it. Carol asked, did I use it during pregnancy? Yes, I use this. So this goes on your skin. You don't actually take it internally. It's just, as you can see, it's a spray bottle. And I did use it during pregnancy. It made a big difference in my morning sickness and my sleep, which were 2 things I used to struggle with pretty much in pregnancy. So somebody asked for a list of all the supplements and uses. Yes, I can do that when I can type after I'm done with this. Brittany asked, do I take this while nursing? Yes. And somebody asked about babies under 1. And yes, I use this on my 5-month-old as well. Let's see. Somebody else says she had awful acne and hers went away from removing sugar, processed food, and gluten. So I would definitely try that as well. Let's see real quick. I don't want to take up everybody's whole day. Okay, so this is another one from Activation when we're talking about it. This is the most foul tasting stuff I think I've ever tasted. It's really actually not that bad when you adjust to it, but the first day it kind of takes your breath away. It's called phytoplankton, and essentially this is what exists in the ocean that creates about 90% of the world's oxygen supply. And it also has a similar effect on the body from what I can tell. There's a lot of research on this, and actually a lot of conflicting research. What I noticed from it is that I have a lot more energy and my digestion is really, really good when I take this. And so this is one of my daily ones that I do take. And just like a couple of the others, I actually consider this a food, not a supplement, because it's similar to like eating seaweed or something. It comes from the ocean. But this is the most pure one that I found, and I'll post a link to this as well. Okay, then other things I use that I consider a food, not a supplement. I use both collagen and gelatin from Vital Proteins, and this one I just actually add to my coffee every day, and it doesn't taste like anything. When we were doing my cookbook photos, one of the food stylists said she actually just adds this to water and it drinks it and there's no taste, which I have not tried, but it's pretty awesome if you can just add it to water. Somebody asked anything for sunburns. So, yes. So what I do for sunburns is mainly preventative, but this supplement is another one I take in the summer. It's called astaxanthin, and it basically is like the red pigment you would find in salmon, and it helps protect the skin naturally. And it's also it's an anti-inflammatory for everybody who was asking about that. And this is one I take daily in the summer. I don't take it as much in the winter, but when I'm going to be out swimming with my kids or hiking or walking outside a lot, I take this one to avoid sunburn. And along with that, I also take the omega-3, which helps the uptake of those, and I take sometimes krill oil, which also has astaxanthin in it as well. And the amazing part about this that I will say is that, oh, we're back. Can you guys hear me now? Awesome. Okay, sounds like we're back. So the amazing part about this is I used to burn like crazy. I mentioned that my family was originally from Ireland and Scotland, and in high school when I was eating a ton of junk food, I would burn just looking at the sun practically. And now I'm able to spend a healthy amount of time in the sun. You guys there? Sorry about this. We're losing the sound. I think I may have to hop off and finish later for you guys. But all right, good. You guys can hear me now. So those are my daily ones. And then one I'm going to be talking about more really soon that I've just started trying is this. It's called Daily Energy. It's from Athletic Greens, which ironically I first heard about years ago from Tim Ferriss and thought like, oh, that's just for guys and like for bodybuilders and that kind of stuff, and kind of ignored it. And now I've been taking this every day and I feel great. And it's basically just a greens powder, and it is food-based, and so far I love it. So I'm going to be talking more about that one, but that's a kind of newer one that I've added in. Somebody asked where do I store them all. So I have baskets in our pantry based on each person basically. So there's one for me, one for my husband, and then one for all of our kids. And the best way I found what I do is I ordered a bunch of these just like small size jars. And when I get up in the morning, when I'm consistent and on track with this, I put everybody's supplements in their own jar, and that way they're there and I can just give it to my husband, or if he's out at work or wherever during the day, he can just take his jar and he's got his supplements. And obviously we don't fill the whole thing up, but it just is glass and it's an easy way to store those. Somebody's asking about adrenal fatigue, which I had and still struggle with a little bit because I'm terrible at sleep, but what makes a big difference for that for me is vitamin C. And this, there's several that I've tried and I kind of alternate, but this is the one I'm using right now. It's called Pure Radiant C, and it's food-based, and I feel really good taking that. So yeah, anyway, that's the supplements I take daily. Just to run through the list for anyone just joining: collagen, phytoplankton, magnesium, Celtep. I can't actually take myself, but when I'm done nursing this baby, I will be taking it a lot, and my husband uses it right now. Probiotics, and then I have a couple of supplements from Seeking Health that are prenatals, and then omega-3s like cod liver oil and just an omega-3 TG form. Astaxanthin, vitamin C, probiotics that we alternate between. And then these two kind of, I take the krill oil more in the winter when I'm not taking the astaxanthin, and then betaine HCl I take if I'm eating a whole lot of protein, or especially if I'm eating something with questionable ingredients that I'm not sure about, and I feel like it just helps improve digestion. Let's see, there's a lot of other people. Somebody asked about a methylated multi. Yes, so the prenatal is methylated, and I feel much better on that. Most prenatals in the past have made me really, really sick, and I would dread taking them every day. So that one. Let's see. There's so many more questions. Hey, everybody who's just joining, please let me know where you're from. And I've got to hop off actually for a phone call that I have to be on. I'll answer one more real quick. What's the best time of day to take probiotics and omega-3s? There's a lot of different theories on that. Personally, I take all my fat solubles like omega-3s and astaxanthin and vitamin D at lunchtime, because biologically to me that makes the most sense, that if you're going to take vitamin D, your body would understand it the most when it's bright outside, because that's when you would naturally get vitamin D. And I take probiotics either first thing in the morning on an empty stomach or right before bed on an empty stomach. What's your rhythm for supplements? Okay, so I've got to jump off this call in just a second, or jump off this Facebook Live for a call, but I will post that in the comments as well when we take everything. And also post links to everybody who's asking specific ones. Brittany's asking supplements for eczema for mommy and a 1-year-old. We have a lot of experience with that with my son, so I will post about that. If you'll give me a little while, I'll get to the comments and tag you guys so you can see any answers. Somebody's asking favorite omega-3. So I take cod liver oil, but I also take this, which is the TG form, which is EPA and DHA, and TG stands for triglycerides, so that's another one that I take. So thanks to everyone who joined. It's always awesome to see where everybody's from. And I hope that answers some questions. Like I said, these rotate all the time. I don't take every single one of these every day, and in a couple weeks it could change. In the winter it will definitely change. But right now this is what I'm taking and what's working for me. But please don't just take any of these because I take them, and do your own research and find ones that work for you and what you notice a difference with your body, because I really do believe at the end of the day, everybody's body is so different, and finding what works for you is going to be so much better than taking any supplement just because somebody else does. So hi to everyone who just joined. Thanks everybody for listening, and let me know also in the comments what you want me to talk about next time, if there's a specific thing, because everybody asked for a supplements one. I'd love to hear what you guys want to chat about next. Thanks for joining, and have a great Monday.